Hello everyone. So, I have been trying to record this for a while. Did you know it is Mercury retrograde season? Because I do. It's hitting hard. It's really hitting hard. I think we leave Mercury retrograde at like the beginning of June, so like next week. But oh my god, everything is just breaking and I can't. Like, it is insane. So, like, I had all of May recorded. All of it. I only edited a handful. And it was just kind of like, oh, I'm kind of filling this video today. So I'll edit it and still put it on the schedule of where it's supposed to be. So that's why I've been seeing videos. But like the second the retrograde hit, all of my technology decided to be a problem. So my rendering program and editing software decided to just be a problem. And it would corrupt files and it wouldn't save properly and it wouldn't save at all. And it was like creating these weird files. And then if it did work on that end, once I finally just dragged the little file over to YouTube, then it would have problems. It would fail. It would be like, yeah, that 20-minute video, we got 4 minutes of it. Why 4 minutes? I don't know. Why is it the next time I upload it, it's 9 minutes and then 1 minute? I don't know. I give up. I've been trying for weeks. So we're going to the phone, and I'm trying not to edit on the phone because it's the pain in the butt. So the struggle is real. So we're going to take breaks with tea. So grab yourself a cup of tea. Mine is now cold from trying to record this because trying to record in one take is difficult. But we got Haunted Mansion cup and my favorite tea. I have been drinking this tea since I became a witch. So it is Tazo Zen tea. I've been drinking this since I was in like middle school. So if they ever get rid of this tea, I will cry because it's my favorite. And yes, Zen tea is caffeinated because that makes sense. So anyways, on to the point of the video. Today I wanted to talk about why I am a solitary witch. So this is just kind of a story of how I got to where I am in a lot of ways. Because a lot of my practice I have spent trying to not be solitary. I've really wanted a group. It just doesn't work out at all, really. So here's that tale. So it begins, as I've said many a time before, I was 13 and I was invited to a full moon ritual and I was at that age and I was a wee bit of a sheltered child of like, I know subcultures exist, but like, what am I getting into? And then like the only thing I had to base it off of was the House of Night series because me and my friend were obsessed with that. And so we were reading it and I was like, is this what I'm getting into? Like, what the hell? Is it real? I don't know. Like, I don't know, a lot of things I was told were real or not. And the coven all bailed except my friend, who wasn't the high priestess. It was her cousin. And anyways, she ended up initiating me into Wicca. And I'm like, cool beans. All right, what am I doing? And so we ended up talking a little bit about it. I'm like, this kind of is actually cool. Like, I kind of dig this weirdness. I like this. This is more my speed because I've gone to church before. That was a hard no. So this was more like, all right, I kind of believe this stuff without knowing that that's what that is. So I then began my solitary journey because we never did a ritual together after that ever. And then she immediately switched back over to Christianity. And it was like, cool. I'm sticking with this though. This is kind of my jam. I like this. So then my community became YouTube, and I love YouTube. Like, the witchy community was so cool, and I miss those days where you'd have Tiptoe Chick and Charming Pixie Flora and like Pigipshian. She posted for a long time and then she kind of quit now, but she used to post a lot and I miss those videos. Like, that I had my top few. A lot of the channels are gone, so it's kind of like, why talk about it? Like Elias K93, that channel's gone completely. And so it just, you know, I mean, granted, like Tiptoe Chick channel's there, but she passed away, so there's never going to be new content from her. And it just sucks seeing that, like, the community that I loved and was like, oh my god, they'd post a video and I was like, how can I apply this to me? Like, what are they, blah, 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 you know, like, trying to learn from them. And comparing each person and, like, what they're doing and to this other person and, like, which one works with me. And it was cool. And I loved it. But it wasn't the same as in person. And even then, Charming Pixie Flora ended up having a, like, year and a day study, and I was like, yes, I would love to study from you. Like, I love your channel. I would love to learn from you. No, I wasn't old enough. You had to be 18. I was like 15 or 16. I'm like, damn. So I couldn't do it. I had to wait, which sucked a lot. And then once I finally got old enough, I was like, she kind of detoured immensely from where she'd initially been. And instead of being like, you know, the everyday pagan, she was the go-get-em businesswoman, the hustle community of like, we're gonna be life coaches now and we're gonna charge like a gajillion frickin' dollars on this course and this training and this certification. And like, you too can charge somebody $600. And I didn't love that because I didn't have that kind of money. And it's like, I don't love that manifestation crowd much because it's like, that doesn't feel like a reality to so many people. It reminds me of the, like, You're a Badass at Making Money book. And it's like, oh, I just casually had some stock set aside that was worth $40,000. You know what I have in a drawer? Crap. I have a lot of crap. I have batteries and battery packages. Like, I'm looking at my table right now and it's like, I have the meshy stuff for like drywall. I have a pack of batteries. I have a hat that I bought in Michigan. I have a candle. I have a roll of toilet paper, or not toilet paper, paper towels. And I have eyeglass cleaner, and I have an empty cup from, I don't even know how long it has lived there. We used it once to fill up the dog's water, and it just now lives there. We have a jewelry box. None of that is worth $40,000 when I need it at all, really. So I struggle with that kind of a vibe. And she kind of moved into that, and I was like, dang. So I started to look locally as well. And that didn't pan out well. Utah, and I don't know if it's gotten better, but for the longest time, it was the witch wars. It was the cliques, and it was obnoxious. And I'm pretty sure it's still rampant. You have to get past the you're just a customer thing, and it's there still, epically, because people will complain about the other stores. And it's like, okay, whatever. It sucks because it just divides a community that isn't that big to begin with. And like, Pagan Pride has sucked the past few years, even before the panorama. Like, it has been awful. Like, the booths are like 90% of it you could find on Amazon, and they probably have, and the few handmade things are repeated so many times that you're just kind of like, oh, okay, so it's the same item. I already bought it way back there. Same stuff. Cool. Occasionally you'll find a gem here or there that's like, oh, this is something different, but it's not really often. And even then, Pagan Pride just hasn't felt the same for a long time. It's just getting smaller and smaller. I don't even know when they're hosting it again. So like, we would go to those and it was kind of meh. And then we've tried a few of the like rituals and classes that are offered over the years. And it's still very much like you're the outsider in their space. And it sucks because it's like, you want to be a part of this community. You want to have people, and they have regulars. So they're going to talk to their regular. They'll acknowledge your existence. They're not rude, but you can tell they're going to talk to their person that they know. And in the ritual space, it was the same deal. Like, when you'd mingle afterwards, it was just the people they knew. And if you're new, it sucks to be you because nobody's going to talk to you. And even if you talk to them, it's small talk and then they're gone. They're talking to the people they know. And it's like, I get it, but also it sucks when you're trying to go there to be part of a community and the community isn't accepting you. And you're like, I don't know how much harder I need to try. Because like, I feel awkward interrupting people's conversations and like butting in and being like, you're going to pay attention to me. I'm an introvert. I don't do that. I will stand in a corner and just observe because I don't want to impede on other people's space and their conversations. And it sucked a lot. I just, like, you know, they didn't really try to make you feel welcomed and, like, try to talk to people. We've tried a few different events, and it was just kind of like, doesn't do it for me. And, like, we tried to join one group, and, like, I didn't know that I had some standards, but I do. Like, if I'm going to somebody's house for a ritual, for a public event, and in the nicest way possible, if you are a hoarder, like, I'm pretty sure, like, you could be diagnosably labeled a hoarder. I don't want to go there, because it's not just clutter, it's also gross. Like, cats not having a clean litter box, so they go wherever. And there's multiple cats. Like a dozen. Like 12 cats in one house with no clean litter boxes, and they just go everywhere. The bathroom made me want to have my bladder explode instead of having to pee there. Like, it was so gross. And it's like, I'm sorry. Like, I can't. It's just a thing. Like, I don't care if your house is messy and lived in. That's fine. But, like, there's messy and cluttered and, like, living in it. And then hoarder. Gross. Disgusting. You have little pathways through boxes and piles of crap everywhere. And, like, don't get me wrong, I have piles of crap too, but there's a difference, you know? And it just wasn't my jam. And then also their Beltane ritual, because at the time I was underage, was way more sexual than it needed to be. And even now I would just be like, listen, no, not my jam. I don't love highly sexualized Beltane rituals. And we're not talking like, oh, but the chalice represents the female and the athame represents the male, which I still don't love anyways. Again, I'm not huge on adding that element into my craft at all. It's just not something I care about. And so it was well beyond that. Clothes were on, but otherwise it was not PG, to say the least. And that made me super uncomfy, especially sitting there next to my mom. And I'm just like, you're going to young women's and the church looking a little bit better, and I really don't want to go there. But it's clean, it's not super sexualized, it doesn't make me feel this awkward. It's awkward in different ways, don't get me wrong, but like, not this bad. And I didn't love it. It made me feel weird. So, inevitably, that didn't pan out. And I tried to start, different groups over the years, and it just never, ever worked out. I tried locally, and then for so many people, witchcraft is a phase. It is not something that you do long term. And so you spend all of this time, you make them, a binder of all of the information, and you're like, cool, like we'll kind of start with some of the basics, let's start with like, what is a circle? What's the elements? Like some of kind of the general, belief systems, and like, here's some books to read, and like, like, let's get started so that you kind of know what you're getting into. And they would show up for like 1 or 2 circles, and that was it. And then I had other people be like, God, you have to meet so often. And I'm like, 3 times a month is a lot, huh? Because you got the full, new, and most of the months, you're going to have a Sabbath. That's it. That's too much. Okay? And so that kind of sucked, because it's like that's the point of this, is to have a community on our days, because we don't meet every Sunday. We meet when it's the full moon and the new moon and when the Sabbaths happen. Cool. So inevitably, I kind of just gave up entirely. And then around 2015, ended up meeting the man the first time, and then we kind of lost touch. And then in 2017, we got back together and actually started dating. And so it was different to date somebody who is into witchcraft and has been doing it for a while as well. And we still do our own things. Like, it's just out of habit at this point. He's had a very similar experience. And so he has his altar space, he does his thing, and occasionally we'll do rituals together, but it just ends up being we do it alone because schedules don't line up. It's really hard to celebrate. Like the moon, the struggle is so real because we both work and we have different schedules. So when I'm getting home, he's going to bed, and it's like I'm still like, I kind of need to decompress a little bit from work, not just immediately go to bed. So like I'll have a little bit of energy to do something at night, and he's more in the morning. He is an absolute zombie. So he doesn't want to get up earlier at like 2 in the morning to go do witchcraft. And so then we only have our days off, and typically, you know, it's kind of hard to be like, oh, the moon was on Tuesday, but today is Saturday night. We're going to celebrate it. It feels kind of weird. And so we just end up doing what we can when we can. And then, you know, you just kind of fall into the habit of, I'm just going to be solitary. And the only kind of change I've had recently is that I decided to join, like I've joined a couple of like the online coven spaces, and they can be problematic in their own ways. Like I know that a lot of people love live streams. I get that. I hate them. I really do. Because again, it kind of falls back to the other experiences of, you're the outsider just sitting there. Like, cool. Because if you're watching it on the replay, they're just talking to the comments. So you, watching it later, are just watching somebody else's conversation, and it feels not great. So I don't love to watch those. So if I can't make it to a live, I don't care. And like some of the groups, they kind of got a little problematic, and I was like, I'm a not. Thanks, bye. Kudos to them. They have good communities that are big and whatever, and they're doing their thing, and that's great. Good for you. And, you know, I had one that I kind of liked, but And so recently I joined one. It's all right. I wish there was more of a community aspect to it. But you know what? I've messaged the person who runs it multiple times, and they actually answer. So that's cool, because some of them don't. And so that was kind of nice, and I ended up joining their little group thing that they do. And it's like once a month you get like a monthly theme, and you get like a workbook to do, which is cool. So it has like journaling prompts and a couple rituals and different focusy things to do. And then one of the 2 moons, so sometimes it's a new moon, sometimes it's a full moon, they will post a live stream of a ritual, and they will post like what you'll need beforehand, like a week before, and like some journaling prompts and things to kind of get in your head of like what we're going to be doing. And then they post the video, and if you can show up to the live, cool. But they do it in the middle of the day to try to accommodate a lot of people, which is great, except I'm at work. So like the last one, and I've only done it one time, to be fair, but I really liked the idea of it. And for the most part, I mean, again, I don't love live streams, but she only talked about the comments like once or twice, and that was it. And then it was back to like this format where I'm talking to you. We're not actively talking in the same exact moment in time. You're watching this wherever you're watching this, whenever you're watching this. I know I said I didn't want to edit much, but I do live with other people, so if they need me, I have to stop what I'm doing. But we're going to finish this up kind of quick. So, moral of the story is that the final group that I'm a part of, I like what she does, and it's nice. I just wish there was like a little bit more of a community aspect to it, and like the kind of learning process of things. And, you know, hosting rituals is great. I love that, but I'd love it for both of the moons, and like kind of a weekly dealio, kind of, you know, like, I don't know. It's just one of those things that's like, I have an idea of like what I want out of a community, and like none of them really line up exactly, which if you've made it to the end of this very long video, I will give you the sneak preview. I did not plan a self-promo for this, but I am planning something along those lines soon, in the next few months, to be happening through my Patreon. I know, paywalls, I hate it too, but also, like, bills are a thing. And I've seen it fail epically multiple times, so I'm trying to, like, not do that. Like, being very upfront about it. Like, there was one, and if you're in the Heathen Norse Asatru community, you know which one I'm probably talking about. But there was this topic on you know, using Patreon to set aside funds for a community and like building a place for the community to come together. And then magically he was able to quit his job and travel across Europe and get a nicer apartment and all of these things. And I'm just like, at least be upfront, dude. Like some of them are like, listen, like, you're paying my bills, like, you're helping me to do what I love to do. And like, that's cool. There's like, I've got a number of people that I support on Patreon that I do that specifically because I like what they do. I like what they are as a person. And so I'm happy to give them money, even if the perks aren't stuff that I'll always do or care about. Like, there's one artist that I follow that he does a variety of stuff. Currently he's working on an album/book, and I constantly give him money. And 90% of the stuff, I couldn't care less. I didn't know that much work went into an album, to be 100% honest. But like, cool. Like, I didn't know that like you had so many recording sessions. I thought it was just kind of you show up, you play the song, you try and fix it in the day, and then you're good. No, you record each like sound thingamajig to do the thing. That was new. Didn't know that was a thing. But like, I don't really care that like, look, this guitarist is joined the crowd, and I'm like, okay, don't care, but here's my money anyways, kind of a deal. And like, you know that you're paying his bills so that he can do what he loves, kind of a deal. So that's kind of what I'm hoping with my Patreon thing that's going to be happening, is that I want to create a community where we do rituals semi-regularly. I would love to eventually get to the point where we could do a full and a new moon ritual every month and do like weekly card pulls and stuff like that. And or whatever, like a weekly intention setting something. And because I like to do that, I like to set an intention for the week of like something you're going to think about or consider or journal about, or like just the intent for the upcoming week, you know? Not quite like a horoscope, because I feel like you can interpret a card however you want. Like, let's pull a card, let's see what comes up, let's see what the thing is about, and like, how is that going to apply to your life? Like today I pulled a card about boundaries. So like, how am I maintaining my boundaries? Where do I need to deal with those? And that's the thing that you could really think about for a week, really. So like, I want to do that. And then like, I don't know that it would be a live per se. I think it would be more of a record, and probably unedited record, but still record a video and then post it, and then you can follow along. And because I feel kind of weird actually recording and like posting it whilst I'm in sacred space. That feels really weird. I'd rather record it and then post it later at a different time, but that's a me thing. And I mean, I don't really have that many people who would be watching anyways, but I would like to get into that space and also start a thing on Patreon of a kind of course. That one is like a thing that's really in the works. That's the thing that I'm planning this autumn to come out. And so if that happens, cool. It's a thing I'm working on, but I'm also working on other things right now. I have books that I need to be writing and editing and publishing, because that's kind of the main-ish thing that I'm doing. YouTube and writing, it depends on the week. Which one is the thing that is my career? But either way, one of those is going to be the thing that gets me self-employed, and then I'll have more time to work on the other one. So that said, that is where I'm at with being a solitary witch. Because even then, doing that, I'm still very solitary. I'm still alone, setting up my space and doing the things. And that's okay. I don't actually need a lot of people around. And that way I feel like you can interact with more people and help more people, because they don't have to be in your area. And it like also teaches you how to be a witch on your own, of like, okay, let's grab our cleansing stuff. You know, if you got smoke of some sorts, an incense, or, you know, a smudge bundle, whatever, use that. Or if you have, you know, smoke issues at your place, maybe like an essential oil blend that's mixed with water and you spritz your room, stuff like that. And or just visualizing your space, because obviously not everyone can move very easily, and so you don't want to exclude people, but you know, however you cleanse your space, and you know, walk through the ritual together and do it that way. And so I have high plans for that, and it's kind of the accumulation of everything that I've been working towards for so long. And I don't want to make it a huge pay thing, but also like I would really like to not have to continue to fit this into work, because work is totally soul-sucking and definitely is not good for me mentally. So I'm trying to get to a point where I am doing all of this stuff full time. So that's where it's like not $1,600 worth, but maybe, I haven't decided the price range on it yet, but some fee a month on Patreon on a different tier. But it will not be coming until sometime in the autumn. So got some time to think about it. But yeah, if you made it all the way to the end, there's your preview of what my project is that I'm working on. It's still very much in the developmental stages. I have the outline of some stuff I want to do, but we're still getting there. So anyways, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you for following along for this very long rambly video, and I will talk with you guys soon. So thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all later.